Yo, what is up guys, welcome back to another anime last stand video. In this video I'm going to be doing a tier list of all the units in update 3, or all the mythics and celestials anyways, because legendaries I don't need to do a tier list on them, but I'm going to do a tier list, and like basically this is going to be units you should summon for / get, and units you shouldn't, so you can like know what to spend your time on, because you don't grind this game like 24 hours a day. Alright, so we've got Idol first up. She's obviously going to be meta support. Like, Idol is probably going to be meta support for a while, because obviously she gives money and she buffs. So she is a meta support, but this is only in Infinite, because you're not going to really get to her last upgrades for her buffs in stories or challenges or portals. So it's for challenges and portals and story, you can go Speed Cut. He's also meta support. I probably put Speed Cut above Idol just because probably going to use Speed Cut more. Speed Cut and actually his exotic version of him, which is Best Waifu right here. Best Waifu is pretty much the same as Speed Cut. Yeah, it's pretty much the same as Speed Cut. Just he's just exotic, so he just looks cooler and looks a little bit different. So Best Waifu. Next we've got Saitama. So Saitama is a hybrid at his later upgrades, and Saitama is going to get an evolution in the next update. As of now, he is a meta heal and hybrid, because he does get hybrid on his last upgrade and he does decent damage. So Saitama will be in a meta heal / hybrid. And Yamamoto used to be good, but now he would probably just be in good ground. He's not really that good. He's pretty mid mythic, so probably don't want to go for him. Sukuna, on the other hand, is still meta. So I've seen a lot of YouTubers putting him on meta heal / hybrid, but that's usually because they have overlord or avatar on their units. But in this case, if you don't have overlord or avatar or glitched, Saitama only is a 1 placement and he isn't really that good. So I have overlord and Saitama, that's why I do use him. But even though Saitama isn't that good as a 1 placement unit, like without any good traits on him, he's still meta heal / hybrid, because he does do bleed and he does have his flame arrow. So he is a really good unit. So I suggest you guys go get Sukuna and evolve him. Next we have Gohan. Gohan is just a code unit. I actually don't know if he's gettable anymore. I think he was Toad Boy's. Oh no, Toad Boy was Gogeta. I don't know whose code unit Gohan is, but he is a code unit, so I think he's still gettable, but he's just a good ground. He's not really that good. Nami in her on Evo, she's just not that good. Just don't bother. But her Evo though is pretty good, so you should definitely think about evoing her if you have Evo like all the other main units. But her base form, just don't bother using. Flame Alchemist, so Roy is still really good with his burn, and he's a air unit, so he hits both airs and grounds. He is a really good unit. I don't know if he would be meta still, because we have so many other units now. I'd say he'd be a good heal / hybrid. He'd be good. Actually, I think I might put Nami in good as well, because she's not that bad. But I feel like Roy is definitely just a good heal and hybrid now. Next we got Guts. So Guts, in his last upgrade, he isn't a hybrid. He's a ground, but he does do full AoE and bleed. So Guts is pretty good, especially if you get like Avatar on Guts or Overlord. Guts was the highest DPS unit before Utah, but he's still pretty meta. Actually, I don't think I'll put Guts in meta ground. I think I'm going to put him in good ground. He's still a really good unit if you get him, don't get me wrong, but there's so many better units now. Gojo's better, and Yami is also pretty good. Doesn't do the same thing, but Sukuna just does the same thing better. Next we got Itachi. Itachi is just a good ground. He's not really that good. He does burn, and I think he has Black Flames ability, which makes the units take a little bit more burn damage. He's really not that good. But if you get him, he's not that bad as a starter unit, but I wouldn't go for him in the later end game. So Genos. Genos is a really cheap placement. He's a 450 placement, and he does pretty decent damage at level 75 without any traits. I think he does around like 4.5k or 5k on placement, but his range is really small. So I probably wouldn't put him as a good as a meta. I mean, he's probably just a good hill, because of the fact that he's just doesn't he has a really small range and his later upgrades are just not worth it. So Genos, I'd say good hill and hybrid. Next we got Saber. So Saber is really good because she does have a mini nuke and you can place 4 of her. So Saber is pretty meta. I'd say she falls in between the good and the meta, but I'm just gonna keep her in meta for now because I do know Saber is not much better, but she's a little bit better than Saitama. And the only reason I'm putting Saitama in meta is because he's gonna get an Evo and he's definitely gonna become meta. So you should definitely spin for Saitama. Gon, just don't bother. He's the worst Celestial by far. So just don't. Actually, no. Yeah, no, he is definitely the worst Celestial by far. Just don't bother. Mash, obviously, he's a meta hill and hybrid ultimate. Actually, no, he's not the only ultimate unit in the game. We have Jotaro over Heaven, but Mash, very good unit. 1 out of 10,000 chance from the banner too. So if you get him, you're lucky. I can't tell you to go for him because he's not that easy to go for. If you like macro Desert Village Act 6 for a while, you can get loads of gems. I can post a video on that if you want me to, but Mash, he's a meta. Just know that. Pride starter. So this one is actually the exotic pride which you can get from buying the starter pack. I would just say don't bother because you can get speed cart, idol, and best waifu for free. So there's no point in buying him. So just don't bother in getting that. Gogeta, he's actually not a bad starter unit. I put him just below Genos. He's a code unit. I'm pretty sure it's Toad Boy Gaming's code unit. He's a pretty good placement. He's pretty good damage on placement, and he's a pretty good unit for beginners. So, you can use him on your lineup if you just started the game. Next, you got Gojo Evo. So Gojo, obviously, is a meta. I'd put him here because he only really shines in infinites, where Sukuna is much better in stories and challenges and portals. So I'd put him right below Sukuna, but he is still a really good unit. He has his time stop and he's hybrid on his last ability. They did change that, so he's pretty good. Gojo on Evo, he's not a meta ground. He's just a good ground, but he's probably right here. But he is hybrid on placement, so on placement he's hybrid, so you can use him to kill airs, and he has his full AoE, and he does pretty good damage on placement. Sukuna, yeah, he's not that good on Evo. Ulquiorra. So Ulquiorra isn't actually that bad. I know he's a ground unit. Ulquiorra isn't that bad. You can get him from Hollow World Act 6. I think he's a 5% drop chance. So 20-ish runs and you should be able to get him. He's not that bad. I'd say I put him 1 below Guts because I feel like his damage is a little bit less than Guts, but we do know that we are going to be getting Ulquiorra Evo. So definitely try and get him. He's not that difficult to get. Also in the Hollow World Act 6, there's also Ulquiorra's Spear and I think his Blade or something. So those 2 drops are also there. Ulquiorra's Spear will be to evolve him in the future whenever he gets an evolution. But he's an alright unit. He's definitely not terrible, but he's not meta as of yet. So next we have Whitebeard. Just don't bother with Whitebeard. He's not that good. Okay, now we have Yami. Yami is still a meta ground. Yami costs 600, so you can place him down as soon as the game starts. So Yami is very, very good. He does 5k with a really low SPA, and his range is pretty small, but his AoE is pretty much half of his range. So he's still a really good unit on placement just to do some damage. Alright, next, Top Chopper. He's just really bad. Just don't bother with Top Chopper. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. He's just really bad. Swordman. Swordman is... I was debating putting him on good ground or don't bother. He's not really that good of a unit. If you want to know what he's like, you can go to my showcase video. I'll put that in the description. He does 16k on his last attack, and he's a hybrid actually. He actually is a hybrid. He has 16k in his last attack, so that's at level 1 though, so you times that by 3, that's around 45, 48k. It's around 48k. He's alright. He's not that good. I'll put him at good for now. I put him above. I think I put Nami below Sukuna. I'll put him above Sukuna just for now. He's not really that good. He's quite mid, so I wouldn't suggest going for him. Next we got Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero from my showcase, I thought he was pretty good because he had a full AoE, 2 placement, and he did crippling. So it's pretty much going, but 2.0. I put him at good. He's also a hybrid. Put him at good, definitely above Genos. And actually, I put him even above Roy. He's actually a pretty good unit. So if you want to go for him, I would only suggest going for him if you already have all these meta units. But he's an alright full AoE unit. He's pretty much a copy of Gon, but just a little bit better. Alright, next we have Ice Baby, Gyakko. So basically, Gyakko's damage isn't really that good, but what he does do is Gyakko does freeze, so he's pretty much Rukia but much better. So Gyakko does freeze, his damage is alright, but he's the only freeze unit as of now. If you want to go for him, I suggest waiting since he's the first like mythic or celestial freeze unit, so they're definitely going to add better ones in the future. But for now, he is a meta support since he's the only good freeze unit. Next we got Jotaro. So Jotaro is ground, if I'm not mistaken. Jotaro is ground. He does have a time stop, so Jotaro is meta support. Jotaro is really good. I would put Gojo and meta support, but his damage is also really good, and he's a hybrid. So I'm gonna keep him in meta heal / hybrid, but you know he can also be in meta support. But Jotaro is really good. I'll put him like here, or I put him above Speaker. He's really good. He has a time stop. He does good damage, but just don't go for him because obviously Jotaro over Heaven is in the game, so there's just no point in going for him. Next we got Angel. Angel is a pretty good hybrid unit. On placement, she's really cheap. I think she's 600 or maybe 450. But Angel is pretty good. I think she's around 4 or 5% drop from the portals, tier 5 and above. So she's a pretty easy unit to get, and she's not that bad. I suggest going for her if you don't already have her. I'll put her in good heal / hybrid. I'll put her above Roy. Next we got Nami. Nami, she would have been meta in the last update, but she's not anymore. She's still a good heal / hybrid, but she has a stun effect where she stuns for a low amount of time, and she stuns every attack. So her Evo is pretty good. I wouldn't suggest going for a Evo just because, like, unless you have every single unit, every meta unit, I suggest you get the meta units before you go for an Evo. Next we got Boa. I'm actually going to put Boa in meta ground as she costs the same as Yami. She does a little bit less damage, but she does stun. So she's a really good unit to place at the start. And I think Boa is pretty much similar to Yami. So if you're going to put Yami in meta ground, I think you're going to put Boa there as well. Rias she's an alright hybrid unit. That's all I can say about her. She's not the best. She's not the worst. And I mean, you can go for her since I think she's a 2% or 3% drop from the portals. She's not terrible, but she's not the best. Minato, his unevo, just don't bother. He's just really bad. Lovely Aranka. I put Lovely Aranka just below, actually I put him just above Genos. Him and Genos are really similar. They both do similar things. They're both air on placement, and they have a similar damage, except Lovely Aranka's range is way bigger and he has a line AoE. So that's the only differences between them. Actually, I changed my mind about Boa. She is meta, but she's not meta ground. I'm gonna put her in meta support since her stun is actually really meta, and she's not as a ground unit. Her damage isn't that good, but her stun is what makes her really good. Next we got Akano. Akano is a meta heal / hybrid. Akano is really good. She is the newest unit from the portal. She is, I'm gonna put her above Saitama, but yeah, she is a pretty low chance from portal 5 and above. But as I said before, she does stun like Nami, and her damage is really good, plus she's a heal unit. Next we've got this guy. I forgot his name. I think it's Samedi or something. But he is one of the units they added into the banner at the last second. I don't know if it was intentional or not. I'm pretty sure like he's from JoJo's. His name is like Abdul or something. I might be completely wrong, so just let me know in the comments. But he is actually a meta unit because he does do burn. Right, so he does burn and bleed. So he is actually a pretty meta unit. So I definitely would suggest going for him if he's in the banner. Next, you've got Utah. So Utah, obviously, he's the highest DPS in the game. He's a really good unit, except he's really expensive. He has a placement limit of 3, but his damage output is really high, plus he's a hybrid. He's similar to Gojo in the way his in his last upgrade he's a hybrid, plus he has a line, but his range is slightly larger than Gojo's, and he is 3 placement unlike Gojo, which is only a 2. So Utah's DPS is the highest in the game. Definitely would suggest going for him if you can. Obviously he's a really low chance to get, actually he's a 100% chance to get from the Valentine's portal, but to get the Valentine's portal is a really low chance. Next we've got Jotaro over Heaven. He's just a meta ground. He's just better version of Jotaro, and he does longer time stop, and he's just really good. I would put him in meta support, but he's a meta ground because his damage is also really good as well. And lastly, we got this guy. This guy is a new unit that's been added to the game, like with the 100 mil visits code. He's a troll unit. He's not at all good, but I think his name is, I forgot his name, but I have a video on it. If you want to watch it, I'll put it in the description as well. He's a troll unit, so make sure you use the 100 million code that they just dropped, 100 million visits. I'll put the code up on the screen right now. It gives 1,000 gems. I think it gives 10 or 15 spirit shards plus skill tree reset. And I think it gives 10 rerolls as well. So make sure you use that code. And not lastly, we have Minato. Minato is a meta. I think he's a meta support. I'll put him in support, right below Boa. Minato's evolved is very good. He has a pretty good range, pretty good SPA, and good damage. It's around an average unit damage, but Minato, I put him in meta ground actually. Minato is just a really good ground unit. You can get him from the Desert Village Act 6. You need his tall cloaks and his tall capes to evolve him, and 25 spirit shards. So if you put in the code, you can get 10 more spirit shards, or 10 or 15 more spirit shards, so get you that little bit closer to evolving Minato. Anyway, this is the whole tier list, so thank you guys for watching. Obviously, you guys want to go for the meta heal and hybrid and meta ground and meta support units. All these units you want to get. These units down here, still pretty good, but I'd focus on getting these units. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and peace.